Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys. How you going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm very good.
We're back again for another episode of Nick, Tys and Videotape. It's a nice kind of sunny winter's day.
It is sunny. It's always sunnier in the winter, isn't it?
I like sunny winter.
Do you?
Yeah.
I like winter.
I love winter, and I like sunny winter.
Really, I don't.
Yeah,
I like my winters
getting
to be
the jacket on
grey
and the
and
scarf.
fucking dark and hail, if anything.
Oh, look, don't get me wrong. I do love a rainy day.
Rainy day.
But there's just something about being cold and the sun being out.
Yeah.
It
reminds me of the snow because you have to rug up but also wear sunglasses
Yes,
because it's
good.
so bright.
People don't care about any of this.
They might, though. They might.
Welcome to another episode, people. We're talking about, welcome to a new kind of segment for us. Nick Tys and Videotape by request.
By request.
So
we take requests.
We do
here at
take
Nick Tys and
requests.
Videotape.
If there is a film that you would like us to talk about, send us an email. We've had a few emails, and we'll be working our way through those
today.
Like not today, like at some point we'll be doing those movies. We're starting though with 1990s. Pump Up the Volume. Recommended by good friend Roos.
Nice.
I'll read her email later on.
And I know that we're going to get to it, but ever since when you messaged me and said, Nick, let's do by request, we'll do Pump Up the Volume. I was like, yeah, sure. Since then, in my head, on a loop, it's just been pump the jam, pump it up, yo, pump it. And it sounds like, Nick, but shut up.
And well, this soundtrack was something else as well. There was some real choice.
Something was off.
Raps.
We'll get to that.
Raps? Shouldn't say raps.
No, you should say raps because that's what it was. Because we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. But before we do any of that, Nicholas, why don't you tell people where they can find us?
Hello, people. How are you going? Are you bored? Do you need something to listen to on that long drive?
On those long drives?
Here at Nick Tys and Videotape, we like to provide a little bit of entertainment for you.
Just a little.
And, you can find us where all good podcasts are sold. You can find us anywhere, basically. I've Googled it and looked it up and I'm like, oh, wow, that's
It's quite terrifying how much of the internet is now.
I didn't realise that they... okay. Yeah, sure. But the main one is iTunes, people.
iTunes.
And you can rate, review, subscribe, like...
I don't know if you can like.
No, you can.
Can you like stuff on iTunes?
Let's give us a look.
All right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can.
That's exciting. But you can definitely rate and review.
You know what you can do, which we haven't said? You can share it.
You can share.
Share us around.
Share. We're demanding so much of these people.
No, we're not. We're not at all. If you like us, you'll do us a favour and
if you want to get in on the conversation, because it is a lot of fun, we do have a really great time here.
You can look us up on Facebook. You can look us up on Twitter.
Yep.
You can write us an email at Nick Tys and Videotape.
We like to hear what you have to say about stuff.
Yeah.
I like asking questions of listeners. I like it when someone says, "Hey man, you know what? This is my fucking top 5," and I'm like, "Yeah, man,
exactly,
sick."
Yeah.
I would love
a
some
couple
more
of them.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it a lot. So keep that up, people.
Or Nick Tys and Videotape. Have you heard about this yet? Which most of the time we have, but that's fine.
But I like it.
Exactly.
And as always, I enjoy a meme. So
so that's all Tyson. I hate memes, but
post
go
them
nuts.
away.
Go nuts.
Post them all.
Actually, no, you know what? When we did Double Impact, the Van Damme, that was actually really hilarious. I did like that. Van Damme, and it was gold. Yeah. So yeah, people, get involved. Talk to us. Tell us what you want.
Indeed. Hey.
Yeah.
We're going to talk some trailers.
All right.
Everybody's talking trailers. Okay,
you're going first.
Am I going to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So I know it might have been just this morning that this trailer became available. But I want to talk about a movie that I am quite excited for, and I'm glad I finally got to see the trailer for this, and that is The Disaster Artist. This is James Franco's foray into recreating.
He looks exactly like him.
Tommy Wiseau's 2007 or 2006, or maybe a bit earlier than that.
Really?
Actually, I can't.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly.
You're gonna
2003. Yeah, it was a bit older. Tommy Wiseau's The Room. This is the. This film. We've all heard of it by now.
If you haven't heard of it, come on.
not everyone has seen it.
I haven't seen it,
but its reputation kind of is well earned.
Yes.
I would say, from having seen it a few times.
Would you say he's the Ed Wood of?
No, because
because he's actually shit.
I don't think. I think it's just one of those accidental kind of moments in time.
Right.
I think there are worse films. I think there are probably even funnier films to watch. It just so happens that this is the one that the world embraced. And look, it is awful. It is funny. It's so incompetent that it just you are just lost for words at points.
Yeah.
And look, and that for some people that's a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
Like going in and being able to kind of just, I guess, laugh at the misfortune of it, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
Just that whole vibe, like the whole idea of watching bad movies, like the Sharknado thing for me.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? That's just keep it. I've got no interest.
Right. You
like
got no time.
Accidentally stumbling across something that has so much like energy and passion, but just is so on the wrong path completely.
Not hitting the mark.
He's actually there is enjoyment in that, and it's. I feel like, we've taken what The Room is, and we've kind of learnt the wrong lessons from it a little bit, and but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
Anyway, yes. So moving on from that little rant.
Yeah.
The Room is a really interesting experience, and it's kind of become this really this immersive kind of thing because you go to cinemas and people throw spoons and everyone yells "Hi, Mark!" and
right.
There's this people start playing football and they like throw around a ball when the movie stops for them to play catch at one point, where they just literally throw a football around for 5 minutes.
Seriously?
There's just a lot of really bizarre stuff that happens in this film.
All right.
All of it is weird. Tommy Wiseau is just the most odd person.
Yeah.
Like his energy is just so bizarre, and I don't understand it. Yeah. And James Franco has decided that he wants to explore the making of this film.
Sure.
It's based on the book by the guy that played against Tommy. So hang on, his name is.
So Dave Franco's character?
Dave Franco's character.
Yeah. Dave.
I love Dave Franco.
I love Dave Franco. But it's such a brother name.
Yeah. This is my brother Dave.
This is my brother Dave. Dave Franco.
Mark. Oh, it is. It's Mark. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
So it's written by the guy that played Mark.
Yep.
And so Franco and the writing team, the guys behind 500 Days of Summer and Spectacular Now, Fault in Our Stars, like a couple of like some
nice
indie kind of hip films. I'll say the word hip. Have taken this making of book and kind of turned it into just an outrageous comedy, I feel like. I think I was watching it, it's good to see that the vibe, I wasn't sure if they were going to go for a bit of a serious retelling of it.
Yeah.
It looks like they're really having some fun with it.
Yeah.
The trailer is just a scene from, and it is one of the most well-known scenes. The I did not hit her, I did not.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows it's. And
I watched it and it made me want to watch The Room.
Well,
like even though I know everything that you've said about The Room, I know apart from the football, I didn't know that. I knew about the spoons, I knew about the high mark, all that stuff. But yeah, this actually makes watching this trailer. I was like, I think I need to see The Room. I think
everyone should see it at one point.
Oh yeah,
just as a kind of an exercise in what is your reaction to it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like how, because it is, it's like if an alien came to Earth and made what they thought a movie would look like.
That's amazing.
That's what The Room ends up being.
Okay,
and only with a very limited understanding of human
interaction
qualities at all. And that's what I find the most interesting about it, is that this guy who probably is a huge fan of filmmaking, and movies, and because there's no way he would go to all this trouble to make it if he didn't actually love movies.
Yeah,
has somehow made a movie that feels looks like a movie, sounds like a movie, but is just so wrong. Like, feels so wrong.
Yeah.
Feels alien, is the
Yeah.
Anyway, the trailer's funny. Franco's gonna nail this. It's right up his alley. I know.
Yeah.
It's good to see like Seth Rogen is just doing his regular Seth Rogen thing.
Awesome.
Dave Franco playing Mark, which is a really great casting thing as well. Because he does kind of look like...
He does really good comedy too, Dave Franco.
Dave Franco is excellent. Really good comedy. I really like him a lot. And I've never watched a Franco directed film, I don't think. He's directed a few, but...
Is this directed by Franco?
Yeah. And... I really like what James Franco's all about. He does really weird stuff. He'll go and direct like a Cormac McCarthy adaptation, yet he'll go and then he'll go start in comedy. This is fucking. He's a weirdo.
Yeah,
but I love it. I love it 100%. So I'm so glad he's directing this. I think it's going to be really interesting. A lot of fun. Anyway, we talked about that for too long.
That was good.
What do you got?
I was clutching at straws this week, Tys.
Yeah.
But I'm going to talk about... I watched Leatherface.
Oh, yes, very good. I saw this.
You saw this?
I watched this
what
this
did you
morning.
think? You watched this this morning?
Yeah.
I think it's not... I know that
I was
people
confused because... Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I was confused because I was like, haven't they already done a prequel? What was that fucking...
They have
what was
done
the
a
Texas
prequel.
Chainsaw at the beginning? From like...
Yeah, but this is
that,
more...
10 years ago?
Yeah, but this is more... that was... I didn't see the beginning, but I'm pretty sure it was concentrating on more the family side, where this is just
I had to do some Googling because I was like, I don't understand
really?
how this works. So this is how fucked up this is all.
Oh, go on.
This is a prequel to the original. That was a prequel to the remake.
Right.
I know,
there you go.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Which is so stupid because they have...
back as they can
they
go.
have... The remake, I'm actually a big fan of the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I liked it.
I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through, but I've caught big chunks of it on like Foxtel and
bit too
stuff.
scary for you, Tom?
No, I find that one okay actually. Yeah. Like I don't find... I've never struggled with
Texas,
the hillbilly kind of torture.
Have you seen The Hills Have Eyes then?
No, that's kind of... I haven't seen that, but that's a different direction. I don't like the mutant stuff. I'm talking like... Because I've like...
You're talking about hillbilly, you're talking about Deliverance.
I'm talking about like the Rob Zombie aesthetic thing.
Right.
I don't actually struggle with that. I quite like House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
I didn't love Devil's Rejects, but I watched it with no...
Yeah.
Like, no trouble. I just sat and watched it and was like, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
It never felt... And so Texas Chainsaw I've kind of has the same vibe to me. I don't get the same...
Yeah, fair deal.
The same kind of...
fair deal.
Yeah, edge of my seat
I like the remake and the trailer for the remake. Do you remember? Okay, so just to set it up, it's very orange and yellow on the screen, and it would take a running shot, and then it would pause the shot and do the camera kind of the fact that it's an old camera taking the shot, and then it pauses, and this sound kind of comes over the thing, and it's really quite, and it keeps going all the way. It does that about 8 times. Okay. I loved it because of that sound. It was so amazing.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Now, this they obviously love it because this trailer has that sound in it. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. So you saying that it's a remake of the original? I'm like, well,
it's a prequel to the original. But I feel like there was a prequel
to the
in
original.
The old series.
There was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah, but that one's a sequel. Wasn't the third one called Leatherface as well?
Oh, no,
Texas
would have to do
wasn't that called like from? Because this is one of those series where there's been a lot more than people realize.
Yeah. That's so true. I don't know.
Because the second
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, 1990.
Is it called Leatherface?
No, it's just called... Oh, yeah, it is. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Yeah.
With Kate Hodge.
A good old Kate Hodge.
I know who you are.
And then
Kate
there's
Hodge.
that one from 1994-ish that had Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger in it.
What?
It's called...
What?
I just remember it because it was one of those ones that while working at the video store, that everyone would rent it and be like, I didn't know Matthew McConaughey was in like the fucking Chainsaw movie. I'm like, yeah.
Well, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986, Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper's in that. That was also Toby Hooper.
Oh, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. 1994, Renee Zellweger, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I need to see that now. I've never seen that before.
I've heard it's awful.
Yeah, of course it's going to be
beyond awful.
And then both of them go to win fucking Oscars, Tyson.
There you go.
Fucking rad.
Everyone's got to start somewhere, man.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Leatherface, 2017. Who's in this? Stephen Dorff. Is he going to win an Oscar?
Stephen Dorff.
Stephen Dorff.
I like Stephen Dorff.
I like Stephen Dorff too. But yeah, the reason that I wanted to... I think we've talked enough about this trailer. But not that I've said anything.
We haven't said anything about it.
I know. It just looks fun. It's a horror trailer, you know. But the reason that I might watch this is because I like people... A lot of horror fans are like, no, I don't want to see the beginning of... A lot of people are upset with the beginning of Michael Myers. You don't want to see him...
Yeah.
You know, you don't want
that's the argument. I think we might have talked about this once before.
Yeah. You don't want to put emotion to the monster sort of thing. Make him a little bit more of a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster, sorry. But yeah, this is what Leatherface does. It looks like it follows his childhood until what makes him.
Look, I agree to a certain degree because, like, I think the reason why a lot of people complain about that as a story choice is because we haven't really seen a great version of it yet.
I liked Halloween.
Yeah, no, they're fine. Yeah. They're fine, but I know a lot of people didn't like them.
Yeah.
You know, and no one wants to see, a Freddy Krueger prequel.
I would love to see that.
Well, and
that's what I thought the remake was going to be.
But I think maybe because, you know, and what was that Hannibal Rising? Everyone, there was a piece of shit.
Yeah, that was horrible. There was another one.
There was another one too.
I think it had to do with Psycho. Did it have to do with?
Well, there's Bates Motel. Yeah. Which the whole concept of... Apparently that's not a bad show.
Yeah, I've heard it's all right.
But I don't care. The trailer didn't look bad.
The trailer looked good. I did like the last... I love a... You know what I do love with a trailer? Because if I could have a job, it would be to direct trailers. Because I wouldn't... For starters, I would shoot my own shit and not give anything away.
Trailers that have like...
Oh, absolutely.
Footage
I would talk to the director and go, look, we're going to show this, and this. And he's like, yeah, cool. As long as you don't give away the money shot, I don't care. I don't want to see all the Iron Mans rock up at the end. I hate that trailer.
That was disappointing.
Yeah. But yeah, the last shot normally with a horror trailer, if you're going back 5 years, let's say 8 years, every horror trailer that you see now will end with a jump scare. It'll go,
there's always something.
There's always something. This one didn't, and I loved it.
It was great.
It was the guy scared to death and a chainsaw just slowly edging towards his face, and it is gushing with blood already. And I'm like, just leave it there. Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Yes,
it was great. Yeah, I thought there were some nice choices in the trailer. I don't think it looks like it's got a good atmosphere about it. I mean, it's hard to fuck up that atmosphere though. Like, I think
it really is
that kind of that hillbilly horror thing. I think it just for some reason just lends itself really easily to it.
Yeah.
You know, that dirty kind of sweaty sun drenched kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think it just lends itself well to horror. I think.
Yeah. It is.
And so. They've kind of captured that relatively well, I think.
I think I'm going to go on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre binge.
I would like to. I think it's kind of one of those series that I've
done Friday the 13th. I own all of the Nightmare on Elm Street. That's my favourite series.
There's not a series that I've watched every one for. So.
Not even Nightmare?
No, nowhere near.
Whoa!
Yeah, nowhere near.
What haven't you seen?
I haven't seen... 6, 5.
6, 5. Have you seen 3? You've seen
4,
3. You've seen
2,
3.
And most of 1.
What do you mean you've seen most of 1, Tyson?
I've never seen 1 all the way through. The only one I've seen all the way through is 3.
Is it because it's scary?
No, it's just never come. I've never gone around to it. I've got the set, and it's just it's about picking a good time that I know because I know I want to. Once I start, I want to do it properly. I want to do it all, and it's about finding the time.
And you've seen the doco.
And I've seen, because I love that docos about. I just love that whole kind of that little phase where there was a horror doco every month about a different series. I was fucking eating that shit up.
I was loving that.
The Crystal Lake Memories one was great as well. The Friday the 13th one, because obviously there's a fuck ton more movies to talk about. Absolutely. So that thing went forever.
Yeah, even though like the Nightmare on Elm Street one went for literally 3.5 hours.
I watched that in one sitting.
So did I.
It was riveting.
Yeah,
absolutely riveting.
I remember when I first got it, Sam was like, "What the fuck is the time? I got to go to bed." I'm like, "No, this is too good. Come on, stay."
And this is the thing. I like even before watching that, I I knew so much about all these movies.
Yeah.
Without ever watching them.
And
like
then
I can tell
glimpses.
You the plot, the poster, who's in what, in pretty much all of them. And and I know what some of the big kills are and all that kind of stuff. It's just through through pop culture kind of assimilation and looking over that time.
Articles and
reading articles about stuff and reading magazine stuff and getting kind of in the vibe of Halloween stuff. Like, because I always enjoy that kind of atmosphere and stuff. So one day, it is that genre that I in theory am a huge fan of, but in practice have actually not
sitting down
really
and watching.
Experienced as much as other genres.
That's a fair deal.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that was trailers, Tys. That was a bit trailers.
Long. That's okay. We didn't run too long because we did our intros nice and quick.
That's true.
So we're going to move on to what did we watch this week?
Do you want to go? Oh, I'd like you to go first.
All right, I'll go first this week. I want to talk about a movie that got a bit of a bad rap.
Ooh.
And I didn't think it was that bad. I watched it on Saturday night. I watched The Great Wall.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now,
Mr. Matt Damon.
And look, I didn't think of this as a Matt Damon movie. Sure. I thought of this as, and I'm going to pronounce this completely wrong, as a Zhang Yimou, or however you pronounce his name.
Oh, Yimou Zhang. Yep.
Oh, I got it the wrong way around.
Wrong way around.
Sorry.
Yep.
Who... The director of Hero
yep.
and House of Flying Daggers, which I think is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
Hero is great, but I always preferred House of Flying Daggers.
Same.
Just because I felt like it was a bit of a denser story and it just had a bit more going on. Hero's a beautiful kind of experiment in visual style and kind of weird, kind of twisted storytelling, but I just thought that House of Flying Daggers had a real kind of heart and emotional core to it.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved it.
Yeah. So how was The Wall, Tys?
The Wall is not bad, man. It got a really shit rap. And I understand why. And I don't...
Is it because of the cast?
It's because of that. It's because of that idea. And I know we're at a time where we're trying to avoid the fact that we don't want to have the Caucasian male savior who enters into another race of people and dominates the story.
Right.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I'll only say that in this environment, he is that character, but it's not to the detriment of the story.
Right.
The characters that kind of fill this world are just so they're actually quite three-dimensional. Matt Damon kind of plays
more of a side character.
Not a side character, but he plays that kind of role where he kind of just moves through as the audience surrogate.
Oh, okay.
And this is this is what I've talked about a lot. We even mentioned this last week with Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes a really effective lead role in these kind of films is just somebody that allows us to enter into that world. And
we follow their story and
because a lot of these worlds are new to us as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an expert on Chinese history. No. I don't know what is going on. I don't know. Yeah. And, this is obviously not history because it's about fucking demons and like monsters and shit. But, I'm not an expert at that. And so to have someone like that who gets kind of shown around, gets kind of sold, oh, this is what's going on here. That becomes kind of my passage into it as well.
Yeah,
but it works really well. It's the visual style though of this director that draws me to his films because he has a real sense of making something that we live in a world where the everyone loves their dark, gritty action films. Everything is desaturated and it's all it's grays and browns and stuff like that. He can still make a really effective and quite serious action film, but it is so fucking colorful and it is beautiful to look at. Like, these colors pop, man. The blues, all the female warriors, they're because they're all split up into different kind of factions. So the female warriors do this thing where they are on these platforms on pulley systems and they dive into battle and then get pulleyed back up straight away.
Right.
It's crazy, some of this shit, right? So they're in these beautiful, like, the most eye-popping blue color I've ever seen. Yeah. They're in these blue things. All the archers are in these purple kind of, like, really like this dark but really vibrant purple color.
Yeah.
And so seeing them all move about just makes these wonderful pictures. And the entirety of the finale, not to give anything away, is there's a big portion of it that's inside a Chinese temple that when the sun hits it, it's all because all
lit up.
stained glass windows.
Yeah.
It's basically like a kaleidoscope of color. Oh, nice. The whole finale is just color overload, and it looked fucking stunning.
Yeah.
And I was on board for it. Like, I actually thought it was really quite good. Like, it's, there's some dialogue problems and, the story's a bit thin, but I had a really excellent time with it, and it's definitely worth it. CGI is one of those ones where every now and then something is really great, and then then there's some really shitty bits.
That's bad.
That looked pretty shitty. Okay. The creatures themselves aren't the most unique design, but they've got some kind of cool things to it. Like, they communicate through like waves, like sound waves and stuff. So the queen will make this like high pitched noise, and her antenna will vibrate, and that's how they all hear what's going on.
Yeah.
And there's some nice ideas in there, and I don't understand why it got such a bad rap. Like, it got a really bad rap.
It did, didn't it?
And it's like,
it just got really shafted.
Yeah,
everyone hated it.
Everyone kind of like
to hate on it.
Yeah,
though.
And
I don't like when that happens.
I don't like it
even
either.
If the movie is bad, you don't need to do that.
But I feel like that was kind of a carryover from the fact that everyone found it hilarious that Matt Damon was the proud white man who came to save China. Yeah. And that's not the movie at all. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
If anything, it's about him becoming a better person because of the people that he meets, and because they teach him how to be a better person. I don't think that's such a bad thing, is it? And I get it. Sometimes maybe we should be able to have stories that don't involve a Caucasian protagonist, and it's just the story.
It should be fine. Yeah.
But
we do have them. We don't have a lot of them.
Well, the problem is that it's not only we're saying that Hollywood is saying that it's like, oh well, it's the only way that we can sell it over here, and I don't think that's true. But it's also a big selling point there. Like,
for them
to say, oh, Matt Damon's in one of our movies.
Yeah.
Like, so that...
Oh, my God, that's great, yeah.
That it kind of works...
How did this do in China?
Very well.
Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah, I think it's one of the highest budgeted films ever produced by China. But yeah, so, I kind of see both sides of the argument a little bit. And, there are... I hope that we get to a point where we can have both. I'm the little Latin American girl getting lifted on people's shoulders with the when do we have both?
Why don't we have both?
Because we probably should. We could just be able to have both.
We can have both. We can. It's just we just need to get over it. It's like the stupid shit that's going on right now with fucking the female Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, but if anyone has a real problem with that, they're just a fucking idiot. Like what?
Seriously?
The only people that actually really care are people that probably never watched the show to begin with. I feel like I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan. I've watched it since I was a kid.
Yeah,
but
I don't watch it because it used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, right. I just don't care.
Yeah,
how good? That's great.
What big deal?
Like, and if that means there's a generation of sci-fi nerds that get to finally have their fucking Doctor.
Absolutely.
How good is that?
I don't.
Yeah, people are fucked, man.
People are
fucked.
Fucked. People are stupid. Anyway, moving on. Oh, to my what did I watch this week? Okay, so I've held on to this because it's kind of a big deal for me.
Oh,
so I watched this. I actually watched this last week. So
sure,
I'm gonna talk about it now because we talked about so many.
We did
last week.
We just smashed it.
Yeah. So I finally watched the 2012 Spike Lee Bad 25 documentary on Michael Jackson's album Bad. So I finally saw it.
Awesome.
It's been sitting on my shelf and waiting for the right time. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Spike Lee. I like his movies, but this resonated a lot with me because Michael Jackson was the first album I ever bought. Dangerous was,
sure,
and then Bad was the second one, and then I got given Thriller, but yeah, he was the first artist that it was like, no, that's mine, and I played it until like I still have that original Bad CD that the case comes off, and it's well loved, and it's still in my car, and it still rocks because I don't have a fucking plug-in for my. That's how shitty my car is. I still play CDs. Anyway, but yeah, I love the way that the detail that they've done this. So it's not just an overall. It's Spike goes track for track on the Bad album and tells you a little bit about everything.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is just it's 2 hours 20 minutes.
Sure.
And it's so good. Yeah, like a good good long doco.
I like it.
So so and it's good because it builds the anticipation. The anticipation for this album was massive because it was after the greatest selling album of all time.
Sure.
Like there was so much pressure on Michael Jackson to come up with something.
Yep.
So it gives you nice collaborations. So starting at the start, Bad, he collaborates with the director who was Martin Scorsese.
Oh right,
yeah. For the Bad,
Scorsese directed the Bad film clip.
Bad film clip,
the one when they're in the car park.
Yep.
Really?
The Bad. If you watch the entirety, so Michael Jackson liked to call them short films. He didn't like to call them video clips.
Yeah.
The entirety of that goes for 15 minutes.
I don't think I've watched the entirety of it.
Yeah, it's him at uni, and it's in black and white.
Right.
And then it's him in uni, and he goes back home. I think it's uni. Or maybe it's just school. I think it's boarding school. And then he goes home. And then he sees his friends who are Wesley Snipes and the other two guys. Yeah. And they're like, hey, what's going on? And they just chat. And he's like, oh, you're home now? He's like, yeah, man, I'm home. It's holidays. And he comes down. He goes out and just walks the streets with them. And they see a drug deal happen. And it's just their reaction to that. And then they're just chatting for a bit. And then Wesley Snipes kind of pushes Michael's buttons a bit.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what? You want to see who's bad? Do you want to... And it goes, bum, 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 and it goes into that.
Okay.
Massive, but yeah, so it's starting...
Check that down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can give you all them. But yeah, it was seeing the collaborations. So... Scorsese, who I knew, which was good to see. I would have liked a little bit more because Scorsese, they get him to talk, but not enough. I felt
sure.
And then it goes into other ones, and then the duet on that album, which I'm not a huge fan of, was supposed to be with Whitney Houston, and I'm like, motherfucker, are you serious?
Yeah,
like that would be huge. So just little things in there, and it jumps around the other because he's done 2, and I really hope that he does the 3rd. So Spike Lee's done this Bad 25, and then he's done the
Off the Wall.
Yeah. So he did Off the Wall. So now I'm thinking he's going to do the trilogy, and you can't not do Thriller.
Yeah,
the biggest selling album of all time. You can't
Thriller.
not. Yeah, I think he's doing it on purpose.
Sure,
which I love. So yeah, so I've watched the Off the Wall, the Journey from Motown Off the Wall, which is. If I'm going to say, I think I built up the Bad 25 doco for so long.
Sure.
The Off the Wall is actually a better documentary.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really good. It was just great.
Yeah, I really want to watch those. Yeah. I think I would love them sick.
Yeah. I think that the Bad doco could have ended just a little bit better. It kind of, I don't like it when docos kind of just teeter off and don't do anything. I like end it with a bold, end it with something decent.
Docos still need to have a kind of a sense of pace and momentum in a sense. Like you need to lead to a certain...
Exactly.
You almost want the end of your documentary to be kind of like the summation of what the reason why you made it made the doco in the first place.
And that's what this one kind of does with the collaboration of like Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder and the writers that because he didn't write. My favorite song of Michael Jackson's is Man in the Mirror, so it is this album. And I knew that he didn't actually write that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the female writer, She spoke a lot on that. And so what it ended with, because it was still quite early, Jackson died in 2009, and this came out 2012.
Yeah.
So it's still a little bit fresh for people.
Okay, sure.
And so it ended with how did you react when you heard the news?
Sure.
And it was kind of like that, but ended on a kind of a higher note. So they did all the tracks bar Man in the Mirror, then they did his death, and then they did Man in the Mirror.
Okay, sure.
But so it was a nice ending. But yeah, it was a long time coming, and I loved it.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time, maybe,
for feature presentation.
For our feature presentation, Nicholas.
Yeah, shall we do that, Tys?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And now for our feature presentation.
Okay, and we're back. To discuss Pump Up the Volume, 1990s Pup Up the Volume.
Pump. Start that again.
Pup Up the Volume. It's like a dog.
Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume.
Were you a fan of that song?
What song was it?
Was it CNC Music Factory?
Are you talking about Pump? No.
No. Yeah. Who sang that song?
Who sang that song? Pump the jam, pump it up. That wasn't in this movie though.
No, it strangely wasn't in the movie.
No.
You looked that up.
I wasn't a fan of that song.
So this is 1990.
1990, directed by Alan Moyle.
Alan Moyle, who he's directed and written by.
Yeah.
Hasn't had a huge career.
But he's done one of my all-time favourite movies.
Was that Empire Records?
Empire Records.
Yeah, and look, Empire Records I haven't seen for a while, but I feel like that's one of those movies that I'll never be able to not like because of what it meant to me in the 90s.
Exactly.
When I watched it, but I don't think it's a good movie.
I'm not gonna say that just now.
But it's just one of those. Because there are movies like that.
Sure.
That it's just like they are.
Yeah, it's like Can't Hardly Wait. You can't watch that again.
I love Can't Hardly Wait. I absolutely love it. But I don't think there's any argument that it's a fucking masterpiece.
Great movie. No, of course not.
I think, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, you know what that just reminded me of?
What's that?
Listening when I was away, and you talking about the fact that you haven't seen Dazed and Confused, Tyson.
Oh, yeah. And do you know what? I started watching it. And
you can't just start watching it.
Yeah, no, I put it on and I was like, all right, Dazed and Confused, here we go. And I was like, yeah, this is not the right time. So I turned it off. I wasn't feeling it.
Oh, it needs to be summer. It needs to be a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
It can't be in the winter.
It's got to be...
I don't know.
Certain circumstances.
It's gonna be hard because I feel that you need to be either just have left high school or in high school.
I don't know though, because something,
I hope you like
something
it.
like this. I'm sure I'll come around on it eventually.
Yeah. It was Technotronic. Pump the jam.
That's correct. Technotronic. Yeah. This beat is Technotronic. I remember that song. So, Pump Up the Volume. 1990. We got Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Early Christian Slater. I don't think he'd done too much by this point. Heathers
hadn't. No.
Cuffs,
yes. No. Cuffs. Oh, I remember Cuffs.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Oh,
Cuffs.
that is hilarious. I remember the cover for Cuffs.
I remember the cover like clear as day.
Yeah.
Christian Slater's an interesting character to me.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you reckon?
No, he did. Good English, Nicholas, you dumb bastard. He had done Heathers by then.
Yes, Heathers definitely, because Heathers was like 88 or 89.
Yeah. 88.
This is also the year of Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 2.
And see, this is like Christian Slater.
Dave Rudabaugh.
This is peak.
Yeah, this is peak, man. 90s. Cuffs.
So,
and then he goes into like all those like Untamed Heart and
this little patch from late 80s through to about 95, 96 even.
Because Bed of Roses I remember was big.
Bed of Roses was big.
Yeah.
Hard Rain. Yeah, look, Christian Slater, man. Interesting career. Maybe he's a bit of a retrospective we can have at one point or another.
In out, I'm sure.
I really liked his performance in this.
Yeah. I like Christian Slater. You want to start with Christian Slater?
Yeah, well, why don't we just do a little overview on it? Because I don't think a lot of people know this movie.
No. Well, yeah.
I hope, unfortunately it's very difficult to watch. We both resorted to different tactics. in order to watch this film, because it's not available on any kind of streaming, and not even to rent on streaming.
No, that's quite bad.
Which is frustrating, because I'm willing
PlayStation
to.
Store
I'm here. I'm like, I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
take my $5.
Take my $2 so I can rent it from you.
Yeah. And it was not capable. So I don't think this is one of those movies that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, pump up the volume. I don't need to watch this. I can listen to it without, because I've seen it so many times. I don't think those people exist, except for Roos, who has made the request for our by request volume 1.
Do you think we're a bit young for this time?
Yeah,
we're a little bit young.
So yeah. But if I think about the kind of movies I was watching when I was 15, this would have only been 5 or 6 years old. Yeah, so it's still, I think it's still kind of at that, we would have missed it in its initial run, definitely, but
we would have maybe picked it up.
Because I think, I know I've seen this before, but it was basically like fresh viewing for me again, because it had been so long.
Fair deal.
I was trying to remember when I'd watched it. It's just one of those movies that I knew I had seen, like it was not a question. So it must have been a teenager when I watched it. And
I was entertained.
I really liked this movie.
I was entertained. I'm not gonna bag it. There were a couple of things that I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah, look, I think it's got its problems, but I think I feel overall,
like I could see that the premise was really, it was quite cool. I did like it. I just felt that it was missing some glue to kind of
sure. Well, I feel like
a good film.
I feel like its attempts to find the glue are kind of some of the weaker points of the film.
Right.
I think this movie, there's a couple of things that it does really well, and I think it captures a certain
time
very well, because it is that transition from 80s to 90s, which was a really kind of like a dead patch. I think if this movie had come out, well, just for kind of youth culture, really.
Oh, okay.
If this had come out a year, or if this had been written and produced even 18 months later, this character would be
a bit more fun.
No, he would maybe not. That's not really the point. It would be more grunge inspired, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
This kind of youth rebellion didn't really have. This Gen X kind of apathy didn't have a voice, really, and then of course that kind of turned around.
Well, they did. If you're going to look at the music, they did, but it wasn't the angst that they were looking for. They didn't have some Sonic Youth.
There's some Soundgarden and stuff, but we didn't have the Nevermind explosion yet. I could almost imagine that someone like Samantha Mathis's character, if this had been 18 months later, she would be in a flannel. She'd be in a dirty flannel shirt and tied around her waist and jeans and a band shirt.
Doc Martens.
Yeah, exactly. And you can just see that it's just at the cusp of
almost there.
Not quite sure how to present that era. I think in
reality, though, it was happening. It's just that grunge hadn't been commercialized yet.
Yeah. Oh, it was knocking on the door, absolutely. Yeah. And you think about if this is released in 90, it was filmed in 89.
Yeah.
Like, so, these things are starting to kind of eventuate. It's just interesting that it is a movie that is trying to show us the struggle for that teenage, that particular age.
Yes.
The struggle for those people to find their voice.
Yeah.
Or
just bored.
To just be, they
were just fucking bored and didn't know what to do.
To have people take them seriously. Because they're stuck in this kind of the in-between where it's like, I am bored, I have lots of important things to say, but no one wants to hear them.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck here being bored, twiddling my thumbs.
Yes. And all of these adults are telling me what to do, and I can make up my own mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just think even a couple of years either way, I think we would have seen a stronger representation of the culture at the time.
Yeah.
I think because it's right in that middle.
Yeah.
We've got weird kind of crossover. Like you look at the girl that puts all the shit in the microwave.
Yeah.
Who is like the cool, like
she's
the
basically
cool, pretty
Molly Shannon.
Not the Molly Shannon.
She's the
Molly Shannon. She's the Molly Ringwald.
Ringwald. Thank you.
Yes. Of Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
and there's a scene where she walks through like the quad.
Yeah. And gets almost harassed by guys.
Oh, well, yeah, well, she's, obviously.
Yeah, she likes it.
There's some weird, there's some very weird, like sexual kind of politics in this film, which we'll get to that. But what I found really interesting was the presentation. Like, even they didn't know how to even dress the cool kids because there was no real kind of quality at this point. Yeah. Like, because the cool kids are in like weird kind of like grandpa jumpers and stuff. And I'm like, I get what you're trying to do, but
it's not working.
It's not working. No. Like, and it's because it was such an in-between point.
Yeah. Even Christian Slater's outfit, not that he's cool by any means, but his outfits,
no, but Christian Slater,
is this cool? Like,
but he's just the most simple and the most kind of like, you could almost get away with wearing that now. It's just jeans, a t-shirt, and a shirt over the top. Like, he's actually just kind of...
He's all right. He's
just kind of doing his thing. And then you've got Samantha Mathis who's doing the very kind of 90s
look.
The early 90s but not the 90s rebellious look. She's doing like...
Early 90s
girlfriend.
As in Frente.
Australian supergroup. Girlfriend
Frente.
Yeah, she's got
doing that look.
She's got the vests and the big chains
over the big
and
dress,
and
the
sundresses and puffy pants and stuff like,
and the short black hair, but with really red lips.
Yep,
and 100% earrings. Amazing.
So it's just I find it to be a really, really interesting kind of time capsule of a transitional time for young people, which I found really kind of cool to take it all in and just be like, fucking hell, look at that. Look at you and your friends. Look how much you are clashing styles and your friends. Yeah. It's amazing.
One thing that I do agree with you, it did capture kind of the disillusionment of wanting to be heard, and school sucks, and teachers and parents telling me what to do. I just feel that the movie itself could have pushed the button a little harder. I felt that you didn't really... I didn't really get a sense of... I wanted a little... you did get a sense, but I wanted a little bit more of that teenage struggle.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they attempted that, and then they tried... Because... this kind of lends me onto another point that I want to make. So I'll make that point, and we'll kind of see if it all kills it up altogether. Because what I think is partly the downfall of this film is that it tries too hard to find a tangible villain, because it's not comfortable just letting it be a misunderstanding between two generations, right? Which is really that's all it really is. Yeah. And this is what it's always going to be. There is always going to be that. And we're kind of at that point now where we can see it from both sides.
Yeah.
We're right in the middle. And the movie's necessity to find something more than that. It's not okay with just letting it be a misunderstanding. They have to legitimately make a villain. Someone has to go to jail. Someone has to be like, well, you're fine and you're going to go to jail because you're treating these kids and you're and it's like they make some of these teachers just so mustache twirlingly villainous.
I know.
That I was
it's
like,
hilarious.
It lost
it's so cookie cutter bad.
Yeah, exactly. And it lost a bit of its authenticity for me in those moments, because I'm like, you know what, this principal, spoilers for fucking Pump Up the Volume, by the way, this principal doesn't need to be like nefariously planning these kids' downfalls because she needs to keep her perfect record up. She can just be an old lady principal who does not understand. And that's all it needs to be.
The fact that you've brought that up, though, I did, when that storyline came out, that oh God, Nick, you've wrote it down somewhere. Not go off the top of your head. Where it was kind of, it came out that she was expelling kids if they were failing so that she could keep her scores up or whatever for the school.
Or like known troublemakers, get them out early because she knows that they will bring down the score.
So she expelled like 29 people in her first week or whatever. Yeah. And I really liked that. I was like, if you're going to do that. But I needed to see her doing that through the film in order for me to have a climactic
I needed
feel for that. But if you didn't want to do that, if you just wanted to go on, you don't need a villain in that sense. Rather just have it as misunderstood teenagers.
Yeah.
You know, and
she can still be the antagonist to the story.
Absolutely.
I just don't need it to be like a fucking Bond villain super plan.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know what I mean?
So I wanted that either be one or the other. That's what I wanted.
Yeah. And look, you're right. The idea of her actually doing that is not the problem.
No,
it's the presentation of it being this mwahahaha. The children will pay kind of vibe
and she
that
even
she
has a
gives
henchman,
off.
you know?
Yeah, and she's got the
guy with the keys.
Yeah.
Because radios off.
It would be some, you know, I could see people doing something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And yeah, but it would be, she would justify it to herself in a far less villainous way, I think is kind of the point that I would make.
Yeah.
And you know, this movie for a movie that tries really hard to give teenagers a voice.
Yep.
I think it's a bit short-sighted in its presentation of the generation above them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a problem because they are aside from Ellen Green's. You know, which every one of these fucking movies has the literature teacher that understands the children. I'm like, why does it have to be? Why is it always
the lit teacher?
The lit teacher who reads the poetry with them and stuff. It could be the shop guy.
No,
it could be the fucking football coach.
It could be the football.
It could be anybody.
It could be anybody. It could be the bus driver.
It could be the bus driver. But it is always the fucking poetry
lit teacher who writes "sell a door" on the fucking
sell a door. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so aside from her, bless her, she made. Well, it's, you know, she was the reason Donnie Darko got made.
Exactly. So
I'm she's cool with me for the rest of her life.
Rad books in my opinion.
You know, so we have these parents that are just like so out of touch, and I'm like. And they even try to make the point. It's like, hey, this was the baby boomer generation, man. These people were fucking protesting shit while you were a twinkle in your mother's eye.
Yeah.
But they don't pay respect to that. They kind of just go, and now you're all like pencil pushers and stuff. I'm like, no, they're not though. These people, you're not actually representing these people well at all.
No. Exactly.
And I think that's where the movie kind of falls down. I think we would have a far more, like we talked about how I don't think a lot of people have seen this movie. And I think that's the problem. I think because really at the end of the day, it's a very one-sided argument.
Uh-huh.
And I think we could potentially have a really great film if they were fairly kind of heard both sides of the argument.
Yes.
Because you don't have to really change anything about Christian Slater's character, or any of his interactions with the younger people.
I did have some qualms with him, but but
overall,
he's
a questionable.
He was great.
You can have qualms with him as a character, not the way he's written as an actual character,
an actual character,
in, you know, whether or not what he does is right or wrong.
No, but why was the thing that I didn't like is why did he seem, what was it? The fact that he seemed conflicted, but it was unclear why he was conflicted, that he didn't want to do the radio station. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't... Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, he was I don't know, at the end of for some reason, for me, at the end of the day, he just seemed like a rich white kid, a spoiled rich white kid.
Yeah.
Because
I can see that.
He came from New York, of all things. Yeah. He settles down in, was it Arizona? It was Arizona, wasn't it? And then at the end... in order not to get caught by the police, he just borrows he's like, oh yeah, this is my mum's Jeep. She gave it to me. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I wanted a Jeep for so long when I was a teenager. Yeah, it just...
Look, and this is...
It seemed like white people problems.
This is a big part of that era's...
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like cause, I guess, more than anything else. And, you know, we'll go, speaking of cause, I think this movie has a lot in common with something like Rebel Without a Cause as well. Yeah. It's just, you know, generationally, it's representing a very similar kind of problem in just very different ways.
Yeah.
And what you're saying there, I completely agree. That's kind of, but we can't. I don't think it's fair for us to judge him on something that he had no control over.
Absolutely.
And that's the same. I'd feel the same way. I'd be like, hey, just because we did live in New York and my parents are well off, that doesn't define me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I get what you're saying, because you do look at it and just go, but man, just come on, you just need to. But at the same time, that is the energy of the time. Like, we weren't far off being teenagers from this.
Yeah,
and I can say it made me remember certain ways that I felt during the 90s.
Yeah,
like as in when I was 15, 16. Which was, 97, 98 kind of era. So it's a bit further on.
Yeah.
But that it really accurately described that strange frustration that you just cannot put a name to.
Yes. All of these emotions that you had that you just were like,
and because it is so confusing. Do I feel like this? It is so ridiculously confusing. Yeah. And I liked that it's probably because it wasn't like trying to be an outrageous comedy and it wasn't trying to be a super serious drama either. I think because
that's why I liked it.
I think it actually probably is the closest to
the feeling,
the real actual feeling of being that age.
Yes, that's the one thing that I did love about this movie, that you felt like you were a teenager again. You felt the struggle and the frustration.
It got it really, really right. And I mean, that's kind of, you watch it and you think, well, that's a bit, how can that be right? But it's pretty close.
How you felt like it. Yeah.
Like I just love how that sometimes they just had to scream at things.
Yeah.
I was like, that's great, because it's such a perfect representation of that build up of tension and frustration, and it was just
anger towards your
everything,
fucking school, towards homework, towards
exactly
the fact that people are trying. Well, why don't you get a job?
And it's like,
fuck you, man.
And I like I think her character kind of really doesn't get enough, because I think hers is really interesting. The one who is the rich pretty girl who who puts all the shit in the microwave.
Call her Molly Ringwald. Yeah, let's call her Molly Ringwald.
The Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, she didn't. I would have. Yeah, exactly. Things like that. I would have felt. Oh, go on.
No, just with her. I'll get your opinion on something. Mm-hmm. She shows up to the PTA with.
Oh, she does with
the thing on her face.
Nose?
Did her dad beat her for blowing up the kitchen? Is that what is meant to be implied? Or did she get injured by the microwave?
I think she got injured by the microwave.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Well, watching that scene, I'm like, this chick is going to get glass in her face if she sits there in the microwave and puts that shit in the microwave.
I knew that was going to happen.
I was like, you can't sit there.
She obviously didn't pay attention
you can't sit there.
Science class.
But no, I don't think that she got beaten up.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, that looks like, because
I understand where you came from, because we see in previous scenes that her father is very dominating of her. Not dominating, wrong word. More very guiding in a forceful way.
Yeah, let's
you know what I mean?
Say that.
Like,
no,
you're going to go to Harvard and you need to go to sleep early because no one, you need to get your beauty sleep or whatever. But yeah, I don't think he was violent.
I might have taken that.
But no, you were right in saying that, because of the bandage across the nose.
Yeah,
it does look like
it looks like she's got black eyes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm going to chalk it up to bad makeup.
Sure, maybe they could have put some
She looks like she's a bit.
But then why the nose?
Why the nose? I don't get it.
Because if it was trying to imply that maybe some glass shot, you'd think they'd put it up here so as not to confuse people like me.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Maybe she did get beaten up. I don't think so, though, because you didn't see it in anything.
Yeah, but because I actually, going back to that, I really like her character. I think that's a really good representation of it, of what the movie kind of is trying to do on the whole.
It is, yeah.
Samantha Mathis's character, not as much. I feel like I feel like
she's the freest out of everyone.
She's
she's got her poetry and she's got her art and she's doing.
She reminds me of the kind of person that would. This is what I mean.
Yep.
In 1990, she's Frente poetry. In 92, she'd be Nirvana flannel shirt.
No, she's not Nirvana. She's Hole.
Yeah, no, she'd be all about Hole and Courtney Love.
Yeah.
In 95, she'd be rocking Happy Pants and listening to CNC Music Factory.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I feel like she strikes me as someone quite flighty and...
Yes, doesn't
whatever is the cause of the moment would be her cause.
Okay,
do you know what I mean?
That.
I actually found her to be less authentic
Oh, okay. So she went goth because it was cool, and she kissed a girl because
that's the one
it was a fad.
That's the yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She'd absolutely be a goth goth kid if it was 1990.
But change her mind. At the end. No. She was a 99 goth girl.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, right when
the craft would have been a very important stepping stone.
Exactly. And Manson was huge.
And Marilyn Manson, of course. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of vibe I got from her. Whereas with the Molly Ringwald character, I feel like that was a far more truthful kind of exploration of
because she was stuck in that. Feeling. Yeah. You know, you felt that her father put up those trophies on her walls. She didn't put them up.
Yeah.
When she ripped them down. And wanted to be something different.
Yeah. For sure.
You know what I did like?
What's that?
Which I did wanted to, which I felt that it just wasn't fleshed out enough. It was actually the cry for help from the guy that committed suicide was just beautifully heartbreaking.
Both of
the boy who was bullied for being gay.
Yeah,
like
I think they were both handled really well.
They were great moments. I just felt that. The Happy Harry Hard-On character. Can't believe we haven't said his name yet. That's Christian Slater's name, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, his radio handle. I just felt that moment was just diminished a little bit because Harry didn't say something. Even if they did hang up the phone, he still got a microphone. He just didn't give any words of comfort.
No, I actually kind of...
But as a teenager, thinking back then... You don't know what to say.
Yeah, I actually kind of quite liked that it was just... It could have been interpreted as him not helping a kid at that point.
Right.
Because I think it adds more kind of narrative momentum.
It does.
The fact that he didn't clearly say, hey man, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he kind of leaves it as... I do... Look, it's kind of... It's a bit not cookie cutter. It's a bit cereal box wisdom, a lot of his stuff. Yeah. It's like none of it is super groundbreaking. None of it is like, it's not these, we're not thinking about stuff that is like really ridiculously deep and meaningful and insightful to a degree that we haven't heard some of this stuff before.
Yeah.
But I think the way he does talk about things like suicide, like bullying, I think are very teenage insightful, which I respected because I was like, the points he's making are kind of would be revelatory to certain people of a certain age.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I liked that part of it. I liked that he did struggle to find the right way to console these people, yet when he decided, you know what, I'm going to talk about this, that he was kind of making points that I think would be good for those kids to hear, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, did I have a point?
I don't know. Did you? The moments were good. Happy Harry Hard-On.
I like... I wasn't the biggest fan of his introduction as this. I don't understand why they had to play it as... Off? Yeah, I don't understand why they had to play him as... Like, and you know, the kids say he's like a sex maniac and stuff like. I'm like, what is that angle? Weird. Why is that angle part of it? I just need him to be the rebellious radio host who just kind of talks off the cuff and tells it how it is.
Sure.
Why is he pretending to beat off and
plays clips of songs, times. Not even full songs, like a clip of a song, like. And I never got it.
Well, is that the whole song? The one about the one. Welcome to something or other. May I take your order? I feel like that might be the whole song.
Really?
Because I feel like it's one of those little punk snippet songs. Right. But yeah, like he's. I get why, because look, okay, so there is, obviously, it's a very confusing time for teenagers. And we get that, yeah.
Sure.
So sexuality is an interestingly kind of taboo topic around that age, because you're not
especially
quite
at that
sure.
Time
especially at that time, you're not quite sure who you can talk to about this kind of stuff. You don't want to talk to your parents because it's gross. You talk to your friends, but you don't want to talk to your guidance counselor because he's a weirdo.
Open up about it with your friends because they don't know.
So perhaps having someone there who is just so free, talking about it, that's obviously
it makes it easier.
It would make it easier, but at the same time, to me it was it didn't really work narratively.
The only thing that I could think of for that time was because they didn't have the internet or something where they can look up and laugh at it.
Yeah, sure.
So it was just adding a little bit of comedy to their droll lives of homework and parents.
And look, hey, when I was a kid,
that would have been hilarious.
That would have been fucking hilarious.
Gold,
this
man.
is the first thing I wrote about this.
Oh, really?
Movie. and it relates to the same thing. But this would have been so like epically cool.
Yeah.
When I was 16.
Do you know why it would have? The amount of cigarettes that he smokes.
Oh my god.
Fuck. It made it cool even now. I wanted one.
As a reformed smoker.
Reformed smokers.
Yes, that was causing me some grief.
Shit, this is fucked.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like that energy, being 16 and witnessing that explosion of energy would have just been so cool. It would have felt dangerous. It would have felt like real and the truth, man. It would have been like, fucking someone's telling it how it is. I would have fucking lost my shit, I reckon.
Yeah, totally. Let's talk about some funny parts, because there are so many funny parts.
There's some weird moments in this film.
My favourite, well, starting off, I love the fact that it was kids passing around tapes.
Oh, fuck yeah.
How beautiful was that?
That was beautiful.
And on the bus, it gets passed from the front seat to the back seat, and everyone's like, oh my God, look at this tape. I'm like, what are you looking at? I've seen a tape. There's nothing on there for you to fucking look at.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a tape.
Whoa,
but yeah,
it's a tape. I did enjoy the, I miss walking through an area with boomboxes playing.
Really? I never really had that.
Wouldn't it be great? Well, we had a bit at school.
Yeah.
We had kids kind of with...
We
never had like kids rocking the boombox on the shoulder.
No,
that never
had that. No.
But there'd be a little bit of it, like on like radio. Kids would have their radios and stuff like that.
I didn't have that.
No? Okay.
Because everyone was cool if you had a Walkman or a Discman had just come in.
Walkmans were huge,
which massive. Yeah.
But
yeah, I loved it. I love people. See, this is the thing. This is what was really cool about watching this movie was I liked the sense that kids caught around and the radio and listened.
Yeah,
and that was rad. You know.
Oh my God, that moment where there's like 6 white kids jamming out to Ice-T. And they're all like, wow, this is so cool. And I was
embarrassing. That was just so fucking embarrassing. Awful. I was like, guys,
these
stop.
Kids, man.
And
the whitest of white kids.
But it was the freshest raps. Like, it was so fresh. It's like, yeah, go to school. And I'm like, oh, fucking Jesus. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is really bad.
I did like, let's talk about the soundtrack a little bit.
I thought it was going to be better than it was, but it was good.
I think what I really liked about it was
because it was more pump up the volume. Like,
it's amazing. Yeah, but I think that shows really well the effectiveness of the Leonard Cohen tracks. I think was excellently chosen.
Yeah. And well placed.
Well placed. Yeah. But even like I love that it's like there's a lot of groups in there that you would recognize, but not so much the tracks
that they were playing
that signified, in your memory, that's these people.
Yeah.
You kind of had to go, that sounds like Soundgarden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is Soundgarden. Yeah.
Exactly. Stuff like that. And even with some of the rap stuff, like I'm no expert at all.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, it sounds like it's Ice-T, but is it like...
Is
it a solo thing? Is it? It's like I didn't recognize what it was. I was trying to remember what group he was part of and stuff. And I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like they chose really kind of big, integral parts of the musical culture of the day and chose kind of deeper cuts, which I kind of was happy about.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of times it's like that whole thing about the Suicide Squad music choices, which were just so fucking... It was like instead of even spending 5 minutes going through a catalogue, they went to the top of the list, whatever is the most obvious choices for that moment.
Exactly.
So I really dug it. I'm going to track down this soundtrack. And
it was Ice-T. It was Soundgarden.
Yeah, I knew
it was yeah.
There was a Sonic Youth one in there. There's some... I can't remember the rest of them.
It was good.
And the score, Cliff Martinez. Fucking
Cliff Martinez.
Sorry,
no.
Martinez.
No. I just like to say it.
A bit
like
of a
that.
flavour to it.
Am I wrong? Is he doing Blade Runner? No, I could be wrong.
No.
He did Fifth Element. That's what I was thinking of the other day.
But I don't know if they've got Vangelis. Is Vangelis dead?
I have no idea.
Because listening to that trailer, it sounds like they've either reused some old original Blade Runner music, or they've got Vangelis doing some stuff. Because it sounds spot on. Yeah.
No, he's doing The Foreigner. That's the next one. The random foreigner that we talked about last week.
Yeah. Nice.
Do you know what one of my favorite lines were in this movie? How the kids would drive to the football oval, and the line was, "This is where the reception is the coolest." And I was like, that is so fucking badass. You have no idea. That was so fucking funny. And then, I love all the cutaways to kids listening to the radio.
Yeah,
I loved all of that.
And what a great. Okay, so this could never happen
now.
No, never in a million years. It required isolation.
Yes,
like the very existence of the internet would make this
null and void.
Yeah. But I loved that part of it. I loved that in this town, the kids all knew about Hard Harry.
Yeah,
they knew that you tune in and he's gonna drop some fucking truth bombs.
And he drops in at 10 and tells it like it is.
And tells it like, and that's
and you get your little rebellion shot in the arm, and it's going to be awesome.
That's it. You get your little jolt to get you through to the next day.
Yeah, exactly. How good is that?
Like, I love it, and I love that.
And you know what happened when the internet was born? Everyone had a motherfucking blog, and no one listened.
And now everyone's got a fucking podcast. That's what
everyone's got a podcast, Tys.
Exactly right, man.
No one cares about your motherfucking movie reviews. Shut the fuck up, people.
But this is like. You know, it's
so funny.
It it could only grow in a fucking 2 kilometer radius or something.
I love that.
It's small town. You know, it's whatever they said that the school had 1,200 people in it or something. So let's say it's a relatively large suburb.
Yeah,
but that's it.
I know.
It's no one the suburb over has any fucking clue what's going on here. At all. And I loved that part of it.
So good.
Until and even then, that's also when I think the movie loses a bit of steam, is when they're all talking about, they've picked it up on the networks and they're going to transmit it. And
let's get the FBI in here. What? Shut up.
It's like, no, this is not this movie.
No,
it's not at all.
Exactly. And that's where they kind of didn't know where to go with the storyline. They're kind of like, what do we do?
And it's like
one of my favorite parts was when it was kind of towards the end, and the kind of chaos was kind of getting a bit out of hand, and one of the kids, I love the big kid who was selling the tapes for $5 he was like the dealer for the fucking tapes. And they one of the kids went up to him and they wired it to the PA system of the school, and the teachers were losing their minds and they're going, what do we do? How do we shut it down?
The whole system.
We got to shut down the whole school, man. I was like, what the fuck is this
Did
movie?
you see that was baby Seth Green?
Yeah.
Oh, like baby Seth Green with your
so
long
small.
red hair.
It was so
That
funny.
bit was really weird because they high-fived and then high-fived again.
Yeah, it was weird. There was a lot of weirdness.
Did the director do it again
school.
because he didn't quite nail that first one, and then decide to keep both takes?
Both in. Yeah. We're going to keep both because it was fun.
It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
Funny. That's... So the finale.
Yep.
We needed a finale, and that's unfortunately kind of, it becomes like a bit of a chase scene,
sequence,
which is like there's helicopters, and I'm like,
I know, for a kid on the radio, just let him do his thing.
This is it, and
it's almost got like a Footloose vibe.
But I feel like Footloose is
way better. Oh, more insane?
No, I think it's like, believe it or not, Footloose is more.
Real
than the ending of this film.
Absolutely.
I just don't think
that's because Footloose has the church
a fucking I don't think there'd be like a town-wide manhunt
for a radio host.
Like, you just wouldn't hear about it. You just all of a sudden you'd turn on your radio and he wouldn't be there anymore, and you'd see the kid at school and it's like, they took my fucking stuff away. Like that's the end. That's the end of this movie.
Totally
in reality, I think it goes a bit off the rails. I do like that Teen Wolf Dad shows up though.
Teen Wolf Dad! I yelled it from my couch. Oh my god, Teen Wolf Dad!
It's That's my note. Team Wolf Dad.
Yeah. We will always be Team Wolf Dad. I hated that he was a bad guy in this.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're not an asshole. You're so nice.
You're like on my list of my favorite thing is to collect dads of movies, and he's up there, totally up there.
But yeah, and so that kind of but I mean, how else would you do it? I guess what would you? I feel like
I don't know where it would go.
Yeah, I like the idea of him having to move around so they can't be trapped.
The only place that I think that he would go, sorry to cut you off.
No.
He would go to national radio. Like someone would pick his radio station up and he would go, oh, well, fuck, okay, now I make money from this.
Like a Howard Stern-esque kind of figure.
Or like takes kids' advice and becomes like a counsellor himself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but no one wants that. That's not angsty enough. Ties.
But that's what I mean. Shit. That's not giving it to the system. That's at all. And yeah, this is like, despite its movies, it's maybe its narrative faults. I think it stays true to its kind of mission statement, which is to fucking stick it to the man.
Tell those teachers, fuck 'em.
Like fucking teachers, man, are the worst.
You're a teacher, Tyson.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
But, so, they found a way to kind of really demonize that generation, I think. But, maybe that's probably not the best way to go about it.
Maybe just calm down. Let the kids, vent.
Yeah. How's the fucking credit font?
It was awesome.
It's like the fluoro graffiti shit
with
kind
the
of
drip
looking.
happening.
Yeah,
it was badass.
And just this whole opening sequence, I was so on board for. I was like, I was ready.
I know. So was I. I was like, this is going to be
this,
rad.
and I think this movie like sustains itself very well. I think there were the only moments really where because I found that I was watching. I watched the first 45 minutes and barely took a note. I was really, was really engaged.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm not going to have too much to say other than kind of good things. And then in the last 10 minutes, I wrote maybe like 2 pages worth of notes because I really just think that that's kind of the biggest problem with it.
Yeah, it is. I completely agree with you. I wanted it to be something a little bit more, and then the ending kind of let it down.
Yeah, but even having said that, I did have to make a note about how it really effectively made it seem important.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of things, it's not. But what it did, it made the plight of these kids.
Yeah.
It made this little, just having him be on the radio for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It made it super important. It made it...
Sorry just to distract you, but how fucking rad is that poster?
That is fucking amazing. We're going to have to put that up. Free popcorn with admission. Where is this place? Someone was doing like a retro kind of film
this was the
thing.
Time.
No, look at that.
Oh, no, 1990.
95 or something.
Was it?
Or 2015 isn't the date of that. It's like a retro kind
2015. Damn it.
But that's a great poster. We're going
to put that up.
We'll put a picture of that
Sorry
up.
to distract you. Sorry, what were you saying?
Like they made it seem like it was the most important thing at that time.
They really did.
And I think that's like, it feels like a victory and it feels like one that was kind of earned. And I think that that is hard to get when it's just them driving a van.
Yeah.
Transmitting a radio show.
True. And especially because you don't... Because the end of the car chase is him just being whisked away and that's it. You don't see... Like, they're still in the football grounds listening to the radio. It's still on. And it was... I liked it because it wasn't... And this happened after, and everything went back to normal. I liked that it was like, no, he went to jail, and awesome.
But I mean, he wouldn't have. Like,
well,
I mean,
his rich parents would have bailed him out.
He basically would get a slap on the wrist because he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
they just wanted to shut down the radio show.
Is there some kind of law against transmitting?
No,
without a permit or something?
I don't think so.
So you
as
get
long
a
as you
fine,
don't
he might get good behaviour where it's like, hey man, you're not allowed to use a CB radio, or you're not allowed to use a transmitter for,
And then the internet was invented.
And then the internet, Hard Harry with a fucking modem.
Yeah,
different beast altogether. But yeah, I agree. I really liked that it ended without here's the nice wrap up, and I like that it was just
exactly.
It's like, do you have anything to say? Blah 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 blah, and he just says talk hard. Like which I think is really the mission. Like a mission statement for this film. It's kind of like, you know what?
Stand up.
Say what you have to say. Do it. It's not always going to be the easiest thing in the world to do.
People aren't going to listen to you, but just do it.
But do it. And then I like all the little people popping up on their own little stations.
radios.
I'm like, no one's going to listen to you.
You're all gone. In my head, I'm like, and the internet was invented.
This is
all gone.
This is essentially the same theory.
And and their chat room was invented. Like,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like,
do you remember chat room?
I remember it. Yeah. What a fucking.
I love chat rooms. That's hilarious.
Yeah, just the whole idea of that. Like, as soon as anything becomes even mildly oversaturated, it's the end of it. It's the end.
Exactly.
So they would have lasted about 2 months, and it would have been nah.
Gone.
Because no one's listening to like 3 different radio like shows in a night. Like, no one's going, I'm going to spend an hour with like...
I can only spend 15 minutes with this because my favourite show comes on.
My favourite show comes on the other band within like 15 minutes.
I know.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to have to get the tape off the kid.
I've got... That's it.
And I'll get the full show.
But how many fucking... are you buying a tape a day? This is the other thing I'm thinking. I'm like, every day. That's a lot of tapes.
That's a lot of tapes.
What do I do with these tapes?
When the fuck are you listening to this?
Is there like a return system? Do you reckon they have a system where it's like, when you're finished, bring it back to me because I'm going to tape over that one. Because otherwise, and
I'll give you the next episode.
We're trying to look after the environment here, guys. At the same time,
we'll give you the next episode.
Yeah, we can have. It's like a subscription service.
Yeah,
you provide me the cassette. Bring it to me, and I'll provide you the show on a daily basis.
Exactly.
That fat kid's working hard, man.
He is getting the money.
Because if he's putting on a radio show every night, what is that fat kid doing?
He's not putting
10
on
o'clock, and he's like, oh fuck, here we go, and like starts making his 30 different cassettes that he's got to bootleg the next day.
Yeah, he's working hard.
He's working real hard. Do you know what I liked is that there wasn't really, they didn't try to kind of. Like, at no point did anyone make fun of the fat kid.
No.
Or did any of the jocks kind of like, nerdlinger or anything like that?
Apart from the bullying of the gay,
but that was
boy,
and that was
see that.
You didn't see that. It was its own story, and it was kind of.
But no, there was no bullying. It was kind of like
strange.
No, it was nice because it was.
No,
we
I
as
agree.
teenagers are one people.
No,
we as teenagers are one people. Like, it's...
Well, and I think it bonded their cause together.
Yeah.
Because, you're right.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've talked a lot about...
Go on.
Fucking, like, the kind of the themes of the film.
We have.
How do you think it works as a piece of filmmaking, though?
I didn't mind it.
Yeah. I think it's written quite well.
I think it was
I
nice.
think it's written better than directed.
Yes.
Personally. I
think it was good for the time because this is coming to an end of the John Hughes era where everything isn't... I feel that John Hughes is a little bit more cloudy, a little bit more nice, where we're coming into the...
floats a little more.
Yeah, a little bit
Problems
more
are
teenage
solved a little bit more
and
easily.
A little bit more. There was a run of suicide films and things like that. With this and what was it, Heathers and other...
Well, it's Heathers obviously takes a very different approach to similar issues, I think. Like, obviously,
just dealing
the
with
suicide
those
is kind of the catalyst that kind of draws this story out, so and that's similar. But yeah, things that I think even the John Hughes films kind of didn't want to talk about.
He didn't tackle them
too much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's moments in stuff like Breakfast Club where they talk about some of these things, but it's not as it's presented more as the kind of the exception, not the rule. Like in that regard, I think these kind of movies, this movie especially, is acknowledging that it's a much more
it's a bigger
prevalent than what I think people maybe thought
that it
5
was
years
back
ago.
Then. Yeah.
And I mean, you look at these kids now, and I think we're in an era now where we're much more comfortable diagnosing mental disorders, especially in teenagers. And I think this is one of those movies where it's like we couldn't find a name for a lot of these things, but now we're comfortable putting names on them.
Yeah.
But stuff like these suicidal thoughts, like this kid. Probably it's a sense of clinical depression, you know what I mean? And exactly in our day and age, he would probably
look it up, get some help.
That's it. It'd be so much easier to be able to find a solution to problems like that. I think his monologues are quite well written.
Yes,
Christian Slater's monologues. They don't ever every now and then they feel a little cheesy, but generally on the whole, I think they're pretty strong.
Yeah, no, they were good. There were only maybe 1 or 2 sections. It was mostly at the start.
Yeah,
where I was like, what's going on?
That was
apart
the
from
first
that,
10 minutes were just a little kind of like
a bit odd.
Can we stop with the extended jerk off?
Yeah, jerk off moments. What the fuck? Yeah. But no, it was good. Yeah, I do agree with you. He did have a lot to say, and it was nice and well written.
Yeah, I think this would work as a play really well. I think a lot of it, if you kind of elaborated on
story. Absolutely.
the radio elements of it, so that it was more.
As long as I can be in it, and I can be. Oh no, I'm too old now.
As who?
Fuck. I want to be one of. I just want to be a kid who's listening to the radio. My favorite was. They were in the driveway. Their boombox was in the middle of the driveway, and they were riding around it on their push bikes. I was like, I want to do that.
You get some exercise while you're listening.
While you're listening to the radio with your friend.
It's a good deal. I like it.
But yeah, I do agree with you. Yeah, the stage show would be fun.
I think it would be a cool, nifty little play if you could find a way to kind of channel a lot of what he's saying into. It could almost be like a one-person show. A one-man show based on the radio program and the letters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could
with
find,
some decent writing. Yeah, you could do
find,
that. Yeah.
And the phone calls. Like you could find a narrative that I think would work really well within that. Yeah. I just don't think... I think as far as like there's no really distinctive visual style. There's an energy to it. But I think that energy doesn't come so much from the direction. I think it comes from the performances and the writing. I would have liked to have seen a bit more kind of... just a bit more of that kind of energy,
angst.
That 90s angst in the direction. Like you watch certain things like, even something like Reality Bites. This is it just jumped straight into my head.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's direction in that feels a bit more kind of, that complements the energy of the characters a little bit better.
Yeah.
Whereas this doesn't always have it. There's one beautifully... directed scene I really like that I made special mention of is the day after they first kiss. And that moment, and it comes. It's when they get to school together.
Yes,
and it was beautiful how it just like he went real close in, and the other sounds were kind of muffled and things, and he made it just about them for that second, and I thought that was really sweet.
That was a really nice moment,
and really well put together. But there wasn't enough of those choices made, I don't think.
Yeah, that was a really nice moment.
Yeah, it was lovely.
I did like that.
Yes, there we go. He didn't really go on to much, unfortunately. This guy.
He did. Well, no, he didn't. Empire Records, which I'm sure we'll do, and I would like to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We will be doing an Empire Records at some point.
But
there's a lot there.
But yeah, Empire Records, and then dropped off the face of the earth. Did almost straight to I like saying straight to VHS.
What was the one I looked up? Some fucking Stephen Baldwin sci-fi thing that I remember the cover of because it looked like cheap as shit.
Exchange?
That's it. Yeah, silver. It's like got a silver cover with like he's in like a Matrix rip-off jacket.
So 2000s.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like that was a 20. Was that a 21st century title? Is that on the video case or on the poster? Is there a little 21st century
exchange?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean at the top, 21st?
I reckon that the distributor would have been. Do you remember 21st century?
Yeah.
They used to on VHS. They did all those kind of straight action films and stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't think I've got too much else to say.
No, that was it for me.
Actually, the one other thing in his character.
Yeah.
I do really like how they presented his character. His real life persona is not like a secret identity.
I did like that.
He actually does have a form of like social anxiety.
Yeah.
And that it's not until he has the microphone in front of him that he feels like he can be himself and talk. I really liked that element of it because it could have so easily been that he was just playing it low key so he wouldn't get found out.
Yeah, which is it was a little bit too confusing for me that was the case.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't understand why.
Well, because I think that's
until that scene where she's standing behind him and he talks.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's really well. It is because it is a confusing kind of thing. It runs alongside with a lot of like performers who need to kind of put on a persona to be a performer. Like that's not an uncommon thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so it kind of I thought that was cool that it added a little bit of extra depth to him, and it kind of just showed a bit of maturity in the writing that I think would have been missed from someone who kind of, I feel like maybe he's got an awareness of some of these disorders. I think what's his name again? Sorry, the director, Miles,
Alan Moyle.
I think he might have a bit of maybe a history or some kind of awareness of some of this stuff, or at least did some research on things like social anxiety and stuff like that, because it's a really kind of accurate portrayal of it.
Absolutely.
I thought, so I really dug that.
It was good.
But other than that, what's with Ellen Green, man? I found it weird that she rushed to find him to say goodbye, and I'm like, when she got fired,
unless she said, she said
you've had one moment together in this film.
No, but seeing her listening to the radio show, she knew it was him.
Not at that point.
No, at the end, when she says goodbye, she knew it was him.
After she's been fired?
Yeah.
I didn't think... No, she didn't know then.
She totally did.
No way.
Yeah, she did.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon she did. Well, that's what I took away from it, because she knew how well he could write poetry, and from that... Well, clearly, this is a kid with a voice. He just doesn't know how to voice it, and he's using the radio to do it.
Well,
and that's why I think the
it makes more sense.
Literature teacher...
Well, because I found it really odd that like when she got fired, because she runs through the quad and is like...
the running
Mark,
was...
I just wanted to say goodbye. I've been fired. I'm like, why are you telling this kid?
Ellen Green.
When did...
I love Ellen Green.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And
it was nice. She's always going to be Audrey forever and ever. Yeah. But I like that she does. Like it was a kind of understated performance, which was really lovely. Because I remember thinking, oh god, is she going to be doing like an Audrey thing? Is it going to be? Is it going to be a bit of a broad kind of comedic thing? And it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Is there any other funny stuff? Hey,
go on.
Yeah, that cordless phone has got some fucking juice, doesn't it? Because when the guy's like, it's the cordless phone base, there could be anything in a 1,000-yard radius.
I'm like, hang on a minute, he's been using that for a fucking week.
And like, 1,000 yards? That's like 700 meters. Are you telling me that if I had a cordless phone, I could go 700 meters away from the base and be able to use it?
Did you see the fucking aerial on it, Tyson? The thing went up to the roof, man. One of those ones where and you pull it out. I had one of them.
That's pretty.
We had
that's
one of them
epic
for like a little while, and we had to when I was on the phone, I had to duck under and not hit the aerial on the fucking door.
Yes. That was something else.
Do you know what this brings up? This is totally off topic, but just having a landline in your house. I think I'm going to get a landline just so that my son...
I had it for a little while.
Just so my son can know what a landline is.
I did it for a little while because I found in one of the last places I rented, and this is people who rent might be familiar with this. Every now and then you open up a kitchen cabinet when you first move in, and there's one of those old Telstra phones.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm plugging this shit in. And I unplugged it after about a month because I was sick of telemarketing calls.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much.
Absolutely.
Too much. And you can't silent an old Telstra phone.
That's true, you can't.
The novelty of it is excellent, but it wears off very quickly.
Fair deal. But I just miss I want my son to grow up with, Dad, Mum's on the phone.
Yeah. Or like, Mom, get off the phone. I need to go on the internet.
Yeah. That's never going to happen again. Yeah. But yes, I totally... I want that shit. I miss that.
Oh, what the fuck?
Get off the phone! Or your brother listening to you on the other end. Daniel, get off the phone! I can hear you listening as I talk to my cool girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want all that.
I want all times.
Yeah.
All right, well, that about does it, I think. Pump up the volume. I'm going to recommend this. I'm going to a strong recommendation.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think this is one of those movies that
strongly
because you got to think about the movies from this era.
I think strongly for our generation though, Tys. People who are born.
Well, what do you reckon? Do you reckon this still has the relevance today? Do you reckon teenagers today?
I think it's a period piece for some people today.
Yeah, I think a lot of what he's talking about though is
still
universal. Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
that's a good point. Good point.
And it's better than watching some fucking bullshit after school special
Exactly.
or like a bad episode of fucking. Do you know what? Actually, this is what I got vibes while watching this. I got Degrassi vibes.
Oh, nice!
And I was like, nice. I'm feeling
Degrassi
this.
vibes.
I got real Degrassi vibes.
I like it.
I love Degrassi.
Yeah, I love Degrassi.
But yeah, for example, a really bad episode. Degrassi's a bad example because they were actually quite good at it. What's a bad version of? Let's say like that episode. No, OC's fucking awesome. You know there's the episode of Saved by the Bell where what's her name?
I never watched Saved by the Bell.
Oh, you were missing out. It's pretty funny. But one of them gets addicted, and I use that in air quotes, to like caffeine tablets.
Oh, fucking hell.
But by addicted, I mean like she takes like two and then
she takes
like
two
like all together. That's it.
Right.
And has like a little mini breakdown where she's all like, "But I want to do this. But I want to do this. And I want to do that."
It's just a panic attack, and she needs to calm the fuck down.
It's probably just like she, who cares? Anyway, so like it's so
something
much
bad.
It's so much better than a random episode of that, or like a bad issue of the week on Home and Away, or something like that.
Absolutely,
this at least sensitively tackles some of these things.
And I do agree with what you're saying. And anything is better than watching a reality TV show. Watch this. Don't watch Master fucking Chef. Or whatever your flavour is. I hate television shows today. I really do. Sorry, that's Nicholas Oldman for the day.
You just went full fucking like, what grinds my gears?
Fucking teenage
Master Chef, fucking rubbish.
Yeah.
100%. No, so hard recommend because like think about all like some of those John Hughes movies, like they're all good.
Oh, absolutely.
But they've got their flaws as well. I mean, something like 16 Candles is... I mean, it's got some wonderful moments in it, but at the same time, it's kind of like dangerously racist and stuff like that. So you kind of like,
true. That's
and
so
yet these
true.
movies are, they're just forever. Like something like Weird Science is not a fantastic movie. Like it's got a lot of nostalgic value, but at least something like this, which not a lot of people have seen.
Nowadays, anyway.
Huh?
Can't really do a Weird Science nowadays anyway.
No, you couldn't get away with that shit ever. But at least, a movie like this, which I don't think a lot of people know about and I don't think a lot of people have seen, probably should watch because it is a different angle to that teenage film that I think...
Dealing with angst a bit better.
A bit more realistically. Yeah. And, it's still got its lighter moments and it was quite easily watchable. But I think for a generation like our generation, how we obsess over... some of those 80s teen dramas. This is one that could probably be on that list, and I just don't think is. So if you've never seen it, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Or just check it out for funsies.
Or for funsies, because, you can't. It's pretty hard to watch.
Actually, it's really hard. Yeah.
Maybe wait until it pops up on something.
It'll pop up somewhere.
We need a resurgence. Yeah. Well, there's a button on my Google Play account where it says...
recommend?
Where it says wish list if it's not available.
I need to do this.
And so I clicked the wish list button, which sends it to Google so they know that someone has requested a film that isn't on Google Play.
Oh, that's good.
So everyone get on and do that.
Do you pay for Google Play?
Yeah.
You do?
No, it's not a subscription. It's like a rental thing.
I need to get it.
So you buy
I would like to get it.
You buy it by title.
Yeah.
So new releases are like $6, old ones.
And you can rent them? Do you have to buy them or you can rent them?
No, you rent them and you get them for 48 hours. So it's the same as like the iTunes store and stuff like that. It's just because this is boring. No one cares about any of this.
No,
I was about to say,
they totally do. What if someone doesn't know?
I was about to tell the whole story about how because we got a new TV now and I moved my Apple TV box into the bedroom so we don't use Apple movies. We use the Google Play, which is on the TV.
People like to know these things. They do.
Well, I think that's gonna wrap us up on that one, Nick.
That was it.
But I've got to say, let's shout out to Roos, who suggested that.
Yeah.
Roos, who emailed Nick, Tys and Videotape at gmail.com and made her suggestion. Hi guys, loving the show. Bit behind on my apps. Just started the Twin movies. Excited for this one. Good topic.
Twin
I hope
movies.
she enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
This email was sent a little while ago, so I no doubt she has smashed her way through that by now.
Right.
I'd like to propose an episode on Pump Up the Volume. It's a particular favourite of mine, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think of it.
Nice.
So, Katie, we have done such.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie Roos. It's been a pleasure to have your email arrive in our inbox. And I hope that more people will take it.
It's never been ever.
Wasn't it just?
So good.
So by all means, everyone...
Follow suit.
Nick Tyson Videotape at gmail.com.
Yeah,
what would you
man.
like to hear us talk about?
Yeah.
By Request Volume 2 will be coming soon. We do already have our By Request Volume 2 title.
Oh, shite. Are we going to know that today, Tyson?
No, we're not.
Okay,
it's going to be a surprise. Well, you,
surprise.
I'll tell you.
Tell me.
But no, the
Tell our
listeners will find out another time.
Well, maybe it'll give them, a coming soon on Nick Tyson Videotape. No? Get stuffed? Get stuffed.
We give people like a few days.
We do.
No, we've been really shit with that lately. But
it's all right. It's all right. We're going to get better.
We're going to get better at that. So why don't we do? Because now we've got a. All right, I'm going to try that again.
You going to try that?
So now it's time though that we cross the streams.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or should I?
No, I'll go first.
Okay. I like this.
I'm going to recommend a
week.
film today.
Oh, go for it. What's
it's on
it
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. And
it is from 2013.
Yep.
It's called Horns. Seen this movie?
I have.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Horns, it's a Daniel Radcliffe joint.
Yeah.
It's, one of his... I like Radcliffe. I like what he's about. I like that he goes out and goes, do you know what?
I'm doing this.
I'm going to do this hard horror thriller, fuck you all, who...
You do know why he can do that, though. This kid is cashed up to the nines, and he can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter what.
But I respect that he's not playing it safe. He's not trying to appease his
that's
base.
What I love him. Yeah.
And because I better not because, I'm Harry Potter.
Exactly. No, he'd rather...
Yeah. And do you know what? I think he's actually... He's very charismatic, and he's excellent on screen, I think.
He's great.
This is an adaptation. Alexander Aja, who directed Hills Have Eyes... High Tension, that rando fucking...
Mirrors. Piranha 3D.
Which is a lot of fun. This is an adaptation of a Joe Hill novel, who's Stephen King's son.
Nice.
And so I have read the novel.
Yep.
This is a good adaptation.
Yeah.
I think I liked it.
You've read the novel, did you say?
Yeah. I think I would have liked it a little bit more if I hadn't read the book. There's a couple of things that I think the book does remarkably better.
Okay.
But that's the nature of having a novel and having so much more time and energy to dedicate to these characters. Some things obviously fall through the cracks, unfortunately.
Yep.
But generally, on the whole, it's a really it's a really bizarre story.
I liked it. It was literally really off kilter. It wasn't what I was expecting.
No.
When it happened.
No.
Yeah. When I was watching it halfway through, when stuff starts getting a bit hazy.
Well, just the premise is basically that Daniel Radcliffe wakes up one day with devil's horns growing out of his skull.
Yes.
He has been accused of murdering his girlfriend. And so is it like a manifestation of his own guilt?
Yep.
Or is something else going on? So it's obviously the premise itself is very fantastical. So we're very deep in kind of horror fantasy here, but it's a beautifully kind of what's the word I'm thinking? Intimate story, I think.
Yes.
Especially if you're in the book, and I'd recommend kind of tracking down both. If you want to watch it and then read it, or read it and then watch it.
I'd like to watch it again.
Whichever way you want to go. Yeah, I do want to watch it again because it kind of goes some places, man. This is
it's meaty.
It earns its R rating.
Exactly.
As well.
And it kind of deserves a second watching once you've watched it.
Yeah,
I guess it would be different for me because you've read the book, so you've kind of know where it's going. But for me, I didn't know where it's going, so it was quite a big surprise. I thought it was going to be just an all-out horror, but it was a horror movie with something to say, which is quite weird.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how a movie that kind of paints itself as a murder mystery to a degree kind of finishes that part of it quite early in the film, which I think kind of throws a lot of people off track. It's movies like we talk about the movies that take the halfway turn. This one isn't as dramatic as some others, but it leads you to think it's one thing, and then pretty quickly it's a 2-hour runtime, and I'd say probably earlier than the hour point it takes a turn into a different direction. And becomes quite a different film.
It's very good.
So get on it.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Well, mine is also Netflix, and it
Very
is
good.
also a movie starting with H. It's Her.
Her. Spike Jonze.
Spike Jonze. Academy Award winning for the screenplay, and rightly so.
Yes, I would agree.
I'm hoping that most people have seen this. If you haven't, this is for those people who haven't. And if you are a bit skeptical because it is Joaquin Phoenix, don't let that put you off in any sense of the word. If anything, Joaquin kind of took a little bit of time off, I feel, and this was his bringing back to no.
Yeah,
I am a decent actor.
I was never. I was never off the Joaquin. I knew something was going on. It was impossible.
Too funny not
it was
to.
too. Yeah, it was just too much. And
it was a little bit.
It wasn't that I knew, because that sounds arrogant. I suspected. I was like, you know what? This just
sounds a bit.
It sounds like it's too much. And I'm actually
just the way that he looked.
Just the way, like, it was too much.
Yeah.
And I've seen I'm Not Here, and I think it's excellent. I think it's really great.
I don't mind it. I just find that the whole thing was kind of a bit. Okay. That was a little bit of a waste of time.
Yeah, look, if anything, it's a whole heap of effort to perhaps not a lot of reward.
Yeah.
On an artistic level, not even like on a financial level. It was a flop, but on an artistic level, there's not a huge amount of
so that's why
reward in that. But I knew he was bound to kind of make kind of appearance again later.
Not a comeback, but
it's not even a comeback. It's just I like how there was the time where he just went on all the talk shows and said, "Yeah, I was fucking with you."
Yeah,
I respect him for just coming out and being like, "Yeah."
It was a fucking joke.
It was a thing, and but now look at all the footage I've got.
It's funny.
It's great.
Look at me. But yes, Her is the premise is a lonely writer develops an unlikely relationship with an operating system designed to meet his every need. I don't think that's a good way of putting it, actually. No. She's not designed to meet his every need. She's there to be a companion. And it's not saying that there aren't operating systems that are him's as well as hers.
Yeah.
I'm sure
because it's I think what I liked especially about it is that while it seems like it takes the idea of Siri,
yes,
and gives it a more distinct personality.
Yes,
but what would happen if these AI systems got so advanced and felt so real that you fell in love with one of them? You
fell in love with one, yes.
Because it doesn't start that way. It's not like the program is loaded to be his fake girlfriend.
No, they actually fall in love.
Like it's an organic process.
Yeah,
because
and you see that process, and it's just I love Spike Jonze, and he does beautiful, beautiful films.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'm a huge fan.
I was such a big fan of this, and I was so happy that it won the Oscar because it absolutely
Deserved.
Thank you. There we go. Deserved it. There we go.
There's some awesome performances in this.
It's just amazing. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I feel that we're quite close to actually doing this. Yeah,
I agree. We're not far off.
Yeah,
I like that.
The first question that my wife asked me when we watched, she said, "You would get one." I was like, "Fuck yes, I would." Well, absolutely, I'd get one just for the email section where she goes, "Okay, you've got 76 emails today. You need 3." Yeah. I'm like, "Awesome, delete them." You know, and she helps you with so much.
Yeah, that whole kind of like digital personal assistant kind of thing. Part of it is great. But I think it's It's such a, it's a really great representation of the future. It's that style where it's like everything's just a little bit heightened, but we're not, we're not in flying cars. We're not jetsoning about the place, but it feels very futuristic.
It's very futuristic,
but all very natural evolutions of where we are right now.
Yeah. And it's just there are so many moments in this movie that make it awkward and just hilariously funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Like getting to what sex
what is it, and this is kind of like
sexting.
Yeah, what's going to happen in the future to things like that? Like,
yeah, exactly.
How will sexual relationships exist when half your relationship is an AI?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That also, but I was more talking about the start when he calls a sex kitten who is on the phone. It's Kristen Wiig's voice, and just the stuff that goes way out of hand. Yeah. And it's hilarious. But yeah, I love this movie. So much.
And what's his fucking job? It's like it's one of those made up movie jobs. That
he writes.
Never exists.
He writes
greeting
letters.
cards.
No. It's letters. It's proper letters.
Oh, that's
to So, say if I wanted to write a letter to my wife, I would hire Theodore, which is his character's name, to write a letter to my wife, and he would just write one because I don't have the time to. Clearly, but the thing is, what he does, because he's such a lovely writer, he's known these people who he writes for many years, so he knows how to write for them.
Yeah. Fake movie job.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's not my favourite Spike Jonze, but
really?
It's a beautiful movie.
It's so beautiful.
I like saying,
what's your favourite Spike Jonze?
Oh,
that's hard, isn't it?
It is tough.
That's hard. I need to watch Adaptation.
I was going to say, I think it's probably Adaptation. I think that movie, I still remember how I felt watching that the first time.
Yeah.
I don't think I can replace that.
Oh, that feeling.
That feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's hard.
All right, well, that's going to wrap us up for today.
Thanks, gang.
Nicholas.
Should we tell people what we're doing next week, Tys?
Next week.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get coming hard and fast.
Okay.
Is that a bit full?
Yeah, let's we don't want to put people off.
We're going to do Speed.
We are 1993.
Jean de Bont.
Or 4s? 94?
94?
93.
93?
I'm going to put money on 93. Ready?
Dun, 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 dun. 94.
94, motherfucker. 94 Speed. Keanu Reeves. Jan de Bont.
Jan de Bont. And Dennis Hopper. My favourite Dennis Hopper. And the
Daniels.
first movie Jeff
Sandy
Daniels.
Bullock.
And my favourite, Sandra Bullock. I love Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's hot. I would still, take her out for a mean dinner right now, even.
Yeah. Treat her to a
totally
nice
would.
steak dinner.
Yeah. And definitely call her the next day.
Good.
You're a gentleman and a scholar. Yes. Speed next week, Tys. Speed.
I can't wait.
You can't wait?
No.
Who doesn't love this fucking movie?
It's been a long time since I've watched it, so it's going to be really fun.
You know what I love? And I'm going to say it now because I still remember it. My favourite thing about this movie is the theme. Do you remember that? No, you got nothing? Leave it at that. We're going to come back.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps us up. So you can find us Facebook, Twitter, all those places. iTunes, rate and review us. Send us an email. Tys and Videotape at gmail.com. Recommend what you'd like us to talk about. Even if you want us to rate something.
Everything.
All that kind of stuff.
Get involved, people. Come on.
That's it.
We love you.
Keep in touch with the Facebook page over the week. We'll be posting all kinds of cool stuff. Thanks, Nick.
Now I get to see these letters. Thanks, Tys.
I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.